In Clint Eastwood's The Eiger Sanction, an art professor and retired assassin is tasked with, by his former boss, to assassinate, though he doesn't know the specific target, a particular individual on a mountain climb on the Eiger in the Swiss Alps. The source novel had been published in 1972, and it wound up being Eastwood who both directed and starred in the project. It's a rather entertaining film, extremely, I was going to say extremely silly, not silly like The Gauntlet is silly, although fairly inane in its own way. But yes, I find the film fun, very able cinematography. The mountain photography is just exceptional in general. The cinematographer on this project, Frank Stanley, was actually injured during filming, and as a result he would never work with Clint Eastwood ever again. He was quite condemnatory of what he claimed was Eastwood's irresponsibility during this production. He'd shot Breezy and Eiger Sanction, directed by Eastwood, and Thunderbolt and Lightfoot and Magnum Force, which he didn't direct, but Eastwood starred in both. Bruce Surtees would replace Myers as Eastwood's regular cinematographer as a director from that point onward. Frank Stanley was certainly an able director of photography. Look at this set. The Dragon, who's the head of C2, the assassination organization which Clint Eastwood's character commits sanctions for, this set is extraordinary. What a piece of work. This is very impressive. You could put the Eiger Sanction as belonging to that world of spy films which, they're not Bond films, so they don't have a particular tone. They're aping off of the Bond films without having a particular campy tone about them, a particular 60s tone about them. These spy espionage films moving into the 70s, the Bond films kept that tone, and they got even sillier, actually, than they were in the 60s. Then there are other films, typically based off of novels, films like When Eight Bells Toll, works adapted from Alistair MacLean or John le Carre. Take Shatter, that Hammer film from 1974, set in Hong Kong. Something like The Boys from Brazil, maybe, or Telephone, the Don Siegel film with Charles Bronson, Scorpio, Michael Winner film. They're abundant. They try not to be the Bond films in, how they want to be more grounded than how silly the Bond films are getting in the Roger Moore era, but they were just silly and inane as the spy genre was in general. I once read or heard somewhere that the Cold War wasn't quite the espionage, playground that the media and fiction makes it out to be, and that it was actually quite a dry era compared to the Second World War, for example. Many spies at the time would comment in retrospect. I don't know if that's a smokescreen or not, but that's in my memory somewhere, It features a decent cast of characters. Obviously, Clint Eastwood as Jonathan Hemlock. George Kennedy proves quite an interesting character as Ben Bowman. Jack Cassidy's quite creepy and sinister as Miles Mallow. And, of course, we have to give credit to Fire David, brilliantly creepy as C2 director Dragon. Gregory Walcott's Agent Pope was quite nefarious and entertainingly sinister. And then we have to admire the presence and the extraordinary beauty of Vonetta McGee as Jemima Brown, Heidi Brühl as Anna Montague, and Brenda Venus as George Bowman. The Eiger Sanction can be a very easy film to enjoy. But in any case, it's a film that mostly builds up to its final set piece where Eastwood and the other characters are climbing up the Eiger. Impressively shot, well coordinated, quite tense. Maybe leave now for spoilers. Well, okay, if you've left, Eastwood's target was not on this expedition. Everyone dies except for him, and then he realizes that his friend overseeing the expedition, who seemingly had nothing to do with anything, in fact it was George Kennedy's Ben Bowman who was his target all along, and whom he has no intention, in the end, of killing. The ending seems ambiguous as to whether Dragon feels as though Eastwood's character has done enough or not. I suppose as him and Jemima sit there contemplating, they wonder how much time they have left to enjoy each other before Dragon sends people after them. We never know. So not a bad film by any means. Quite a good film, I might say. More impressive than I expected, and certainly, and maybe you likely already know what you will think of this film if you haven't seen it by viewing this particular upload about that film. So if you're so inclined, do seek out the Eiger Sanction. If not, in any case, have the best possible day and night you could ever imagine. Thanks again, my friends.